You know, there's something happening right now in America. There's an epidemic. There's an epidemic of cops coming out of the closet from behind the curtain, and now they are exposing the truth that people like myself have always known. You see, again, when you hear me speak about police officers, you mostly hear me speaking from my own personal experience with them. That's what you mostly hear. And then you hear me speak from others' experience who contact me, who have had an experience with them. But when you get police officers like the woman down at a police precinct that start flat out calling out police officers and telling them to take the uniform off, and now we're going to New York to where there's 12 officers that have gotten together, and you are hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The precinct is going to deny it. They're going to demonize these police officers. If they get fired, which now they hold them to the guns. Because if they get fired, then the allegations is true. They are in a lawsuit with the state of New York. Because, like we have always known, there are quotas. And they're clearly telling you that they're going to what they call the people who don't vote. They're going to the non-privileged areas. And they're looking for something. They're looking for something to arrest people for. And if they don't get it, their arrest quotas up by the end of a certain month, then they get pressured. They get pressured for performance issues. You ain't going to get promoted. You're not going to get this. And it's not, hey, look at this. Don't you think that this is just one isolated incident only in New York? This is all across the board. You see, another thing I'm speaking from, which many people don't know, is my dad had an extent and experience being a police officer in the late 60s and early 70s. So all of you people out there who think that you have an inside track on all this stuff, I know that was a long time ago. But now what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you have police officers like these New York officers on camera telling you the truth? And you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing more police officers come out and tell the whole entire world how the system is corrupt here in the United States of America. If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. If the head is corrupt, then the whole damn thing is corrupt. And Washington is corrupt to the core. And for these cops to come out and actually admit it, there's a swing going on. There's a paradigm shift going on in this country. Now I like to see what Fox News and all of them going to do. I like to see what all these people who think that the police is so good. Again, we're judging the police as a whole, not on an individual basis. I like to see what people are going to say on this. I'll tell you what. Let me turn this camera around and let me let you see this video for yourself. Wait till you hear this.
Tonight, truly explosive allegations in an I-Team exclusive interview.
They're coming from police officers who are part of what's being called the NYPD 12 cops who filed a class action lawsuit in federal court. They claim the NYPD is breaking the law by pressuring officers to meet quotas for arrests and summonses and punishing those who don't do it. Several of those officers sat down in our WNBC studios to talk with investigative reporter Sarah Wallace, and she joins us now. Sarah?
Well, Chuck and Sabila, the police commissioner declined to be interviewed for this story, citing the officer's lawsuit. But he has repeatedly maintained that numerical quotas do not exist. A department spokesman said members are expected to do their jobs and that just like any other organization, there are performance standards through which employees are evaluated.
On
the streets in certain New York City neighborhoods ask about police quotas for arrests and summonses, and this is what you often hear.
There's a quota system. There always has been, and there always will be until someone changes it.
Y'all see that? That's what they targeted.
Ted, take a seat right here, guys. And front row is set.
These NYPD officers, all currently on the job, say it's true. They've all worked the streets, the subways, and patrolled housing developments. The department says there are no quotas.
Well, I could tell you, I'm a police officer. There are quotas in the NYPD.
Are they lying?
Absolutely. It's illegal for them to admit it.
They come from different precincts, largely minority neighborhoods in Brooklyn or the Bronx, but their stories are remarkably similar.
They tell you this to your face. Black Hispanics between 14 to 21. They must get stopped.
They're plaintiffs in a federal class action lawsuit that claims the NYPD is violating a 2010 state ban on quotas, speaking out together for the first time.
At the end of the month, these officers, whoever don't have that arrest or those few summonses, they're pressured to find something. You might not see nothing. You're supposed to be visible. You might not see anything, but you go hunting, like bounty hunting for an arrest, locking up some old guy, some homeless guy, finding somebody who's riding their bicycle on the sidewalk, who's spitting, and you bring him in.
The problem is when you go hunting, when you put any type of numbers on a police officer to perform, we are going to go to the most vulnerable.
The most vulnerable?
Of course. We're going to go to LGBT community. We're going to go to the black community. We're going to go to those people that have no vote, that have no power. If we start doing what we're doing in Midtown Manhattan, a phone call to the mayor's office is going to be made. That's going to be the end of it.
We're the predators, they're the prey. The worst thing you can have is a police officer that needs an arrest for the month.
So you're all minorities. How does that make you feel?
It's horrible.
This is something coming from the top that trickles its way down, and this is why we're all here today.
We first interviewed Officer Edwin Raymond last month. He says he's been recording conversations with NYPD officials for the past 2 years in an effort to prove alleged quotas and retaliation against cops who don't rack up numbers.
They are breaking the law.
Raymond's claims elicited this expletive from the police commissioner.
Bullshit is my response to that.
The commissioner insists his policies are focused on the quality of arrests and summonses, not the quantity. The officer's attorney. Is the commissioner lying?
Yes. Commissioner Bratton is lying.
How can you prove this?
I can prove it with testimony, with recordings, with documents.
All they want us to do is go out there and lock them up. They told us it's easier to get numbers out here because you work in this type of community.
Are you arresting for stuff that you shouldn't be arresting for?
Well, that's why we're here. We don't do it. We refuse, and because of that, we are retaliated against.
Because you're not harassing people, you're being punished, you know? And it doesn't make for a great work environment because they want you to harass people.
The lawsuit claims minority officers are punished more severely than white cops for failing to meet quotas. The city denies it.
And the community are suffering the most.
Because?
Because the pressure, because the quota. Because the police department is like a whore pretending to be a lady. That's what they are.
Are you worried? You know, this is a big step to come forward like this.
It's not easy. It's not easy. We are the enemies. We are the people that nobody talk to. The culture of the department, we are the rats. That's how they call us. We are the rats that speak out. It takes a lot of guts from a rat to stand where we stand, knowing that our career are basically over the second we speak against such a mafia, because the police department is a mafia. It's a big organized mafia.
Again, the police commissioner declined to go on camera to address the allegations. The city has asked a judge to dismiss portions of the lawsuit, claiming the officers haven't begun to prove a case either for quotas or racial discrimination. We will have much more on this story at 11, including what the cops say happens when they don't meet the numbers.